And welcome back to the New Dawn, your premier breakfast show that is each and every weekday here on Kiona TV, the one, the only. Our sincere apologies for that slight technical glitch. It has since been rectified, and we did highlight earlier on that we are going to be having a guest in studio, and this guest is going to be helping us unpack his manifesto for the Democratic Opposition Party leader, Harry Peter Wilson. So he is going to be unpacking the manifesto, and we know that he is among the 11 presidential candidates for the 2023 harmonized elections come 23 August, and it is going to be quite an interesting run right there. So Wilson officially launched his presidential campaign after filing his nomination papers on Wednesday, the 21st of June 2023, and we know that he is among the 12 presidential candidates who are vying for the top presidential office come 23 August 2023. And we know that this is not the first time around in which he is vying for the top seat right there. The party registered 14 aspiring parliamentarians as well as 45 councillors in the 2018 general elections. So the nomination court on 21 June 2023 produced 12 presidential candidates for the August elections, and we are not going to be getting into detail pertaining to those 12 presidential candidates, and we did highlight that we are going to be making it a point as Kiona TV that we are tracking whatever it is that is happening relating to the 2023 harmonized elections. So we did highlight that Harry Peter Wilson now is in his second bid to become the president of Zimbabwe, and he is saying that he is in it to make a big statement. Wilson leads one of the fringe political outfits called the Democratic Official Party. So at the 2018 polls, he won by 4,895 votes. So that is what it is that we need to know relating to Harry Peter Wilson. So beautiful viewers at home, help me welcome in studio the presidential candidate representing DOP, Harry Peter Wilson. Good morning.
Good morning, Zimbabwe. Good morning, presenter.
Good morning. So how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Everything's quite nice. The weather's quite good outside, but chilly but good.
All right.
Yeah.
So as we get into today's discussion, so what does the manifesto, that is the DOP Manifesto, address relating to the 2023 harmonized elections?
The manifesto addresses the particular inspirations for Zimbabweans to be able to understand that our manifesto is very important, and the manifesto is the part of what we will bring about if we become the new government. And our manifesto is very great. It's got many things which you can think of which are the right things for Zimbabwe to be able to move forward, creating an economy that works for all, a taxation system that's fair, building better communities, bringing about a new economy. Zimbabweans need jobs. They need to get themselves in a position where they can work and move to the next level of life. Zimbabweans need to be lead rich lives, because Zimbabwe is a good country and it's a rich country at the same time. We need Zimbabweans to be proud and be able to move forward with a way of life which can show that we are one of the best places in the world to be living in, and best place in the Africa continent. As before, Zimbabwe was a breadbasket of Africa. We want to bring about the same kind of solutions which will create a favorable situation for Zimbabweans.
All right, thank you so much for that one, Wilson. So what have you done in as far as assisting vulnerable communities is concerned?
Assisting vulnerable communities, we've been around in vulnerable communities where we look at the plight of people's lives. We were up in down here in Dabazinduna. We've seen there's a lot of poverty. So we've gone around there, we were trying to assist the old people, the young children, schooling, education, the ones who have medical problems. We're trying to look at what Zimbabweans are facing. Zimbabweans are in a crisis, and the crisis needs somebody to assist them. It's sad to see Zimbabweans going down, and they are so desperate that they don't know where to go. So you see them, they run away from Zimbabwe, they go to South Africa, Australia, Canada. Zimbabwe is home for us. That's where we grow up. I come from Rangimo, where I grew up amongst a population of a small community which I learned in regiment school where there was a multitude of people. You know, it was not so like how it is today. But as I say, Zimbabweans are not fair. They're not being treated fair. As you look today, which child can pay for school fees today at the age, this primary school education and higher school education? But if we come into government, these are the things we're going to look at really, really serious. Primary school education will be free. High school education will be free. University level, yes, we'll have a subsidy and which can give university students an opportunity. This is a country which is young. When you think of the youth today, the youth are the ones which will be the next leaders of our country. But if we don't push them forward and give them opportunities, what are we going to left with? They become vendors, they become telephones, sellers of these phone cards and stuff. That's not what they went to university for. Some are even have got degrees, and some have got engineering degrees. But what do? They run out to South Africa and work in the cornfields, in the wine fields, which Zimbabweans today ask themselves, is this the Zimbabwe us from 1980? We had an uprising against Robert Mugabe's rule in 2017. We thought we would bring about a government which is inclusive, that everybody is involved, that people will understand. That is what people asked for. People thought that this is what we're going to get. But what did we get? A false pretense.
All right, thank you so much for that one, Wilson. Probably can we just break it down? I did ask earlier on in terms of what it is that you're doing in terms of assisting vulnerable communities, and you did allude to what you did in Ndabazinduna. Probably can you at least break it down for the viewers at home in terms of the assistance that you have been rendering, particularly in Ndabazinduna?
The assistance I've been rendering in Ndabazinduna, I had to look at the plight of the old people. Some of them weren't really well fed, so I went out and I gave them a bit of relish and a bit of what I manufacture from my company is mealie meal. So I went out, I gave the population there, the ones we needed to be supported. And then we looked at the children out there. Some kids got no school fees. So I put a package together for them, which I put a package for them to pay for their school fees, which is $25, and to pay for their books so they can have an educational side of things. And doesn't because some come so hard on the families, because there's no employment in that area. We looked at the hospital situation in that area, it's very poor. Even the police station you got there, there's no doors on the police station. It's a disgrace to go out there. If you went out as a reporter and just filmed the police station, you'll be very, very shocked what you're really seeing out there, you know. And I say to myself, Zimbabweans don't need that kind of life. If you look today, what is the Ndabazinduna? We think of the dam, we need a system of the dam so that the cows and all the stuff can at least have water to drink. We need to think of all those things. We need to put a community wall there. There's a big open flare space where they've got no recreation. We sponsored the netball team which is there. We sponsored the football team which is there so that people can have some sort of recreation. But Zimbabweans need better. But I say there's one kid who came up to me at the Ndabazinduna ward meeting. The kid had a big cyst on her neck, which I said to the kid. They came to me, they asked me, what can you do for them? I said, well, this kind of situation is really calls for the hospital to be and a doctor to take care of this, which the doctor has for me, and I'm prepared to pay the doctor's fees and get the child back to his normal life. Which, if you look at what we're looking at today, these are the kind of things. The medical system here in Zimbabwe is really dilapidated some places, but we can have a government which goes buying so much for different societies in the government itself today. Like yesterday, just 18 ex-VO vets got 18 vehicles. The price of the cars, we're in the newspaper, 95,000. Just one vehicle can sort out that whole area. So, but we are looking at our priorities in a different corner today. It is, yes, well, because they were the war heroes, yes, but at the end of the day, we do not go and butter the nation with things today which you can see. The country's in big trouble. The medical side, we've got no hospitals. The hospitals are all dilapidated. And you can ask yourself, is this what Zimbabwe is asking for? But we ask today, if you vote for us, we'll get a better position for us. I'm forcing Zimbabweans to think about it very wisely and look at our manifesto. We've got lots of flyers, we've got lots of programs you're on, but we're trying to tell Zimbabweans, think wisely this time. This is our vote. Let's not vote for 43 years of the same government, or vote for things like bullet trains. We haven't got bullet trains, cannot eat. We cannot feed our stomachs. What are you going to do with the bullet train in place like in Tabazenduna, where the people got no work? It's this for us now to create employment for those people in the rural areas, like bring a lot of manufacturing back to the rural area, like for corn and those kind of things, because they're the producers, but it's all brought to town. So we're looking at, if we come into power, we'll think about all those kind of things. Our city today is totally rotten. If you go into any of the buildings today, there's no facility for toilets and those kind of things. These are the kind of things will bring back employment. You will get back the trades, which you can give a training center for trades where you can register and get people really back on the road. Do you understand me? When we look at all these things today, what is there? There's nothing. Youth today need employment. So the youth need to think and do something for themselves. You just get out of the street today. It's a sad situation. You find 20, 30 guys sitting on the street. You ask them what they got to do. They got nothing to do. But it's this government must create job for them. The government must create job. Even the same police stations, you can put builders in there, you can put plumbers in there, you can put carpenters in there. You can get things moving. In all these buildings are owned by foreigners. Foreigners don't do much for those buildings. They stay in France, they stay in India. The majority stay in India, and they own the majority of the town. But if there's a law which comes out, every 5 years, you got to resuscitate these buildings. You will see how the economy will start picking up, because that will create work for the youth, which you can train carpenters, you can train lift mechanics. If you've got a mother who is 75 years old, how would you get up a flight of 20 steps or 30 steps at that age? The lifts are not working. All these things, you can see that we need to think wisely. The government's got to put its foot down. And if I'm in power, this will be really my target, is to get everybody to push and get back to work, and get these people who own these buildings to stand and make Zimbabwe a great country. Zimbabwe is a beautiful place. It's got people who are strong enough to want to work. Then we go to the agriculture sector. You know, we've got farms out there. We need farm subsidies, tractors, bore-walls, water irrigation. We cannot put people on farms without these things. It becomes a failure. That's why you can see to Zimbabwe. Our land acquisition bill was a very, very good idea. We had to take back what is ours. I don't condemn the government for those things. That is something which is really brilliant. But we need to put people on there who can bring production. Because right now we've got vast amounts of land without production. We've got to think wisely and put people, while we train, to go out there. So many people are looking for work. If you give them opportunities, they go out. It's no use going to put somebody there. We've got nothing. Look just outside this building, as we said here by Pioneer House. Just take a walk downstairs and look at the Pick and Pay shop. Just look in front of the shop, what is there? There's hundreds of vendors selling produce which is coming from in the shop. How do you compete with a person which is outside selling the same produce? You got to do employment of about 200-300 people in that shop. There's cleaners and the staff. There's people doing the same thing. But this is unfair to society. If you go to Trade Court just outside court, there's a total big shop which just closed down. These shops are closing down because of the way this economy is run. Because as you look today, people can't sit outside my shop and sell the same produce I'm selling at a lesser price. How do I pay wages? Again, there we come back to the taxation system. The taxation system is not fair. Nobody pays a tax today. You got the vendors, they're not paying tax. There's no taxation system. Nobody fills in tax returns to say that how much you accumulate in a year. Even business people don't fill in tax forms. All those things should come back together. It's no use giving a business society to follow up with a fees of quarterly payments. This has got to be a system which is in place, that every business will be registered and every business got to pay the taxes. Every Zimbabwean should get a pension and should get tax. We cannot carry on like this. Zimbabweans at this age, some of them got no pension. You give them equivalent to $10, $20 pension a month. What are you going to buy? It just gives you the money of the taxi fare to come to town and buy 2-3 loaves of bread, and that's the pension finish. Is that fair for Zimbabweans? Yet you've worked your whole life. We look at the industry today. Industry today is very poor. If you drive around Bulawayo, you'll be shocked. You've got crane, you've got beautiful, beautiful factories, but nothing going on inside there. They're even making sandbags, put sand for the economy inside these industries. Yet these industries manufactured a vast amount of things which you could use to export to other countries. Zimbabwe was the best. They have the best employment. Look, Australia has taken a lot of Zimbabweans. Canada has taken a lot of Zimbabweans. All the UK has taken a lot of Zimbabweans. Because the Zimbabwean skills was so high, and the production which they produce is of the best standards in the world. We need to bring back all that. Let Zimbabweans start showing again that we've got a life to live. But as we stand today, what is there for Zimbabweans? We've got nothing to worry, we've got nothing to think about. The government don't provide us anything.
All right, that's very interesting, Mr. Wilson. So you have been recorded saying that you feel the need for an introduction of the government of national unity. Why the need to have that again?
The need to have a government of national unity is the best solution, because as we look today, we've got a government of which today we've been 43 years in this doldrum. You understand me? And ask yourself, from 1980s, this is Zimbabwe asked for. If we had a government of national unity, think of it. Every ministry will be a police to another ministry, where you feel the function of every a person which is in government doing the proper job and being watched by the next person. Because in the days that this government, as we what you can see, there's a lot of corruption coming out, and a lot of things are not in position which are really good for Zimbabweans. We have ministry levels which are not for what we think it is. A government as unity is us Zimbabweans as government. Today we've got ministers which are not born here in Zimbabwe, and they come with the system. We just had a situation which came about the past couple of days, where we've got a minister who is not in Zimbabwe, who is not born and bred in Zimbabwe, but is a businessman and use funds to actually lure one of our MPs, which was on our ballot paper, to become an scapegoat that he could win the next ministry election, which is up against somebody who's coming from an opposition party, which is the court still has not given the decision of whether they're going to run in the election. So what he's decided to do is to take out our MP from this position and give himself an opportunity where he's got nobody to run against. This is a foreigner already playing tricks in our election field. It is Zimbabweans to learn that these are the kind of people who come here, take all the money and send it out to India, they send it out to Australia and give us nothing. But Zimbabweans got to think wisely. We need an inclusive government where everybody's involved. We're not going to say we are Ndebeles and Shonas and so. We need Bulawayo. We need all these ministries from everywhere else to be part of this government. We can't have people coming from far places to come be councillors in Matabeleland. They don't know how to speak the language. They don't know how to do things for the Matabeleland people. We need people from right here to be able to organize ourselves. Abantu laba vela kachan, sister. And laba kati trouble, kindly trouble. So go inyala, everywhere you go is just messed up. Because you have got Zimbabwe people over that you got people lose interest when they see these kind of things.
All right, so Mr. Wilson, so from what you're saying, what are some of the pros you feel you could have learned from the previous GNU compared to the one that you're proposing?
The pros we have learned from the previous GNU was the actual currency system. It's stabilized. Yes.
How so?
Because the GNU, it was controlled. In the GNU, you could see the currency stabilized, things were getting better. My system feels that the banking system in Zimbabwe is not the true banking system. People have got no confidence in the government banking system. So what you get in with no confidence, nobody will support the bank. Everybody just wants to take their money out and get it changed, because the devaluation happens every day. And that continues and continues. People are scared to keep their money in the bank because they've been lost their pensions. They lost their wealth was in the bank. Nobody actually gave them back this pension money. If I came to government, I will make sure that all those who lost their money will get back all their money and get themselves back to life. Where we need to look at a credible bank system. The banking system, people have got no confidence in this one. So that's why you get this currency problem. We are suffering from this situation where people they've got no audacity to think that, this is our currency. What happened in 1980? This was the most productive country in Africa, the highest currency in Africa. But today, look at our currency today. We've got gold, we've got lithium. Today, look what they're doing now, the lithium. They bring the Chinese to take all the lithium out of the country. You understand me? Yet the lithium should be made, it should be the breadbasket of Zimbabweans. Why I say the lithium should be one of the biggest products right now, because lithium, gold, platinum, diamonds. These are world market minerals. Lithium today should be one of the best subsidies for the Zimbabwean people. For all those people in rural areas, this lithium batteries should be made here. All the solar systems should be made here by the university students, that now we can electrify the rural areas with free power. The sun is always here every day. It's a good country. It's a nice climate and everything. If we think of it in generally, we use that lithium subsidy, that those countries which are taking the lithium from you or buying lithium will be in a position to know that they must subsidize the rural project of electrification of solar systems, which is free for us. The lithium batteries is the manufacturer side of it. They have to pay towards that. We cannot bring people here to take all our minerals and get nothing from it. Yet we know that's where they're taking it from the rural community. The rural community should inherit this for themselves. Because if a child goes to school at 5 o'clock, she cannot study in the night. And everything today, you spend the whole day until 3, 4 o'clock at school. You only got 1 hour to be at home, have a wash and get ready. Yet you can have another extra 1 or 2 hours to learn, study, if you have the lighting system. People got no ways to charge their phones and stuff. After 5 o'clock, the rural community is totally dead. Yet we're saying, if you give these people an opportunity, the university graduates got so much at the university graduates who are educated technicians. Give them the power to be able to create these incentives for ourselves, Zimbabweans. We're asking this government, which was in power, can you do these things? But if I came into power, it's one way. We'll start making things move forward and getting things working again. We'll look at people's lives and get people going. I say to Zimbabwe, they must get up and stand up for their rights.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Wilson. So now that Akama 23 August 2023, we are having 12 presidential candidates, and in 2018 we had 23 presidential candidates. Are you by any chance demotivated by the fact that this time around there are lesser candidates compared to 2018?
Yes, I'm demotivated by that because at the end of the day, a lot of the candidates were my mates which could not present themselves because of the fees which was subsidized onto this presidential candidate. It's a buying situation now. It's not a free policy for Zimbabweans to be able to vote for the best person. Now it's money which is on the table. Okay, I'm a businessman. It doesn't affect me to pay the money for the presidential candidate. But other guys are the lame guys on the street who are working for themselves. They need to think of it. But they've got good ideas. I went to into the government's the presidential's subsidy of Pollard, which we came in there knowing that we can help the government and get the government to think of the good things which need to be done for the country. And at the same time, those very same gentlemen are in that were in the team with me, did a lot of work. We had thematic committees which are brilliant mindsets. And today they couldn't get in the election because they didn't have this kind of fees. 20,000 is already a deposit for a house today in Zimbabwe. You can buy a house at 20,000. If you go to the townships, you buy a house and you not pay the rent for the rest of your life. But we in business, I don't mind because in the day I've got something to present to Zimbabweans. There's something I want to tell them. That's the reason why I came here, is to really get the Zimbabweans to really bind a system which is going to work for us. There are solutions we need to put in place. And Zimbabweans must understand that this is the time, and this is the time to think wisely. A vote is not about giving regalia to people or getting hundreds and hundreds of 4x4s, brand new 4x4s around the country and giving the opportunity to people who are close to you. Zimbabweans are all close to each other, but we need the support. We cannot have things like a bullet train, spaghetti highways. Where are we going to drive these things? But at the same time, we have a system in Zimbabwe which is not working. Look outside, my sister. Look at the cars on the street. The cars are totally rotten. And you look at them, and there we have got a system in Zimbabwe which we can put together, that every car, every year, will be allowed to go through an inspection system. We'll create inspection centers. In Harare, maybe 20 inspection centers. That will be for the builders to build them. That will be for the computers, ITC to come in there. All these things will give us opportunities. The youth will be able to go work in there and set the programs for these vehicle inspections, that when a car comes out from the vehicle inspection, it will be perfect to drive on the road. How much employment are we going to create for Zimbabweans? We just look at the centers. Bulawayo will have its own centers, maybe over 5, 10 centers in Bulawayo. Mutare will have its own centers, maybe 8 or 6. Kwero will have its own centers, maybe 10. Harare will have maybe 25. We only look at the places, the population, that area. But each and every vehicle will be roadworthy, and people will not be maimed and be damaged by these people. Then you'll have a proper system that you don't put 25 people in one car. At the end of the day, we're looking at creating employment in the same strategy. Mechanics will go back to work. Panel beaters will go back to work. Painters will go back to work. That's where it comes in, the tire system. I grew up in this country. I worked for Dunlop for many years. I did all the manufacturing of the tire system in Zimbabwe. That was one thriving company that today, if you go out there, is a nutshell. There's nothing happened. I grew up in this country. I worked in Dunlop. We made Z60 weight, we made tires for every vehicle. Now you're importing tires from overseas. These are winter tires, cold tires, snow tires, which come in a hot climate. You drive that tire for 2 weeks, what happens? You're going down the road at 40 to 60 kilometers, burst. Everybody in that car turns over. And this government is allowing these things. Where we come to the same situation is that, look at what's happening if you go to a place like, on every port of Zimbabwe, you got these people bringing in these foreign second-hand clothes. These second-hand clothes are coming from Europe. There are diseases there in Europe, you understand me? Which those diseases are now affecting Zimbabweans. You get people breaking out in eczema and all this. And now you've got to put another medical bill on the table. And now the manufacturing center is now dead. All the clothing inside is count down. Because you bring in cheap clothes, even up to school, up to shoes. Women's lingerie, panties and all that stuff. How can we have that kind of situation? And we see, just take a ride to the market down the road. Look at in the market what is there. Everything is just second-hand clothes and that kind of stuff. Okay, it's cheap for Zimbabweans, because Zimbabweans are suffering. But we need to manufacture.
Mr. Wilson, allow me to just come in a bit.
Yes.
So you're part of Pollard. So what are some of the issues that you feel emerged from your participation in Pollard?
There's a lot of
maybe you can share with us some
yes,
of those issues.
We had a Karisindaba where we came into to reintroduce new methods and new systems. The currency was controlled for a slight period. But as I said to you, Zimbabweans will adapt to things. But if it don't work for them, it becomes a problem. All these things we looked at. Then we had thematic committees for different levels of governance, you know, which we are part of them. And we had a lot of inputs to the president, which some things he took in and some things, because it's his government. He cannot take everything we got on the table. But the benefit of it is that Zimbabweans understood, and we understood how the government runs. And with those kind of incentives, it gave us a clear picture of exactly what we can do, what I could do if I came into government, or what is being done wrong. I cannot give you the whole prognosis of what is on the table, because I lose it. So they'll use it for the other vote. Like today, our manifesto is out. We get so many opposition parties gunning for our manifesto, so they can now change the few details in the manifesto to benefit themselves. That's why we say, no, okay, we give out manifesto to understand our policies are very, very open. And exactly is what will come about in Zimbabwe if we give them an opportunity.
All right, quite interesting right there, Mr. Wilson. So speaking of the policies that you're going to be introducing, come at the point in which you may be the president of Zimbabwe. The one thing that I want us to discuss again, Mr. Wilson, mainly stems around the vision you have for Zimbabwe. What is the vision that you have for Zimbabwe? You did highlight some of the issues that are there that emerge from your manifesto, but let's look at the broader picture in terms of the vision that you have for Zimbabwe.
Come 2023, I become the president. The vision in Zimbabwe is now to get people back, the society to understand that here now, we're in a new Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has to change. It has to go forward. We need to think of creating employment for everybody. That's my vision before we go further. And have all the old people in Zimbabwe be looked after, because they have passed their stage and getting things going again for them. The main vision for Zimbabwe is to get Zimbabwe back on track, to go and get back to work. That's my whole plan, is to get Zimbabwe off the street and get things working.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Wilson, for that one. And as we're about to conclude this discussion, probably can I just get your understanding in terms of the devolution mantra? What's your take on it?
Oh, very well, good point. The devolution mantra is one of the best solutions which should be brought about. But the devolution mantra is now being pushed to different corners. It's not what the devolution mantra is about. Because one thing, devolution will create a vast amount of employment in areas. The devolution mantra is look at Matabeleland and the prognosis of Matabeleland. All the aspects in Matabeleland garner to one thing. What we got in Matabeleland is progress, if you think of devolution. It will now generate a vast situation which change the whole demographics of Zimbabwe if you really make devolution a priority. One thing, Matabeleland's got Victoria Falls, it's got Wangi Game Reserve, it's got the mines, it's got the industry. How much employment you want to create if you give devolution an opportunity? What will happen in Matabeleland? The industry will start picking up and all these things will come back to normal. Our devolution plan is that what is made in Matabeleland must stay in Matabeleland. What is made in Gwero must stay in Gwero so that it develops these areas. That's why it's called devolution, so that we can develop those areas. You can't have all the resources from Matabeleland going to Harare to build a new Harare, which Harare must support itself. Today, what is coming, Victoria Falls is one of the biggest hubs of foreign currency drawers today because of the tourism and all that stuff. The Wangi Game Reserve, Matopus right down the road, all these things bring a lot of coffers into the government. And with these things, we can do so much to bring this Matabeleland to what Matabeleland should be. For the last 20, 30 years, have you seen any development in this part of the world? No, the development is in Harare. But if you look at Matabeleland is still lacking behind. There's no new incentives. There's no new buildings. You can't even look even Kwekwe is taking over us. They've been given an incentive now to build a massive building. But Matabeleland, where the money is coming from this government, they don't do nothing. Because of tribalism at the same time, and because of the last incidents which went on here. We had a very big breakdown in Matabeleland. And you know it, my sister. I don't want to mention it to use it as a campaign tool, but I still say Matabeleland people are deprived of what this should be in Matabeleland. But if I came into power, I won't look at Matabeleland, I look at the whole country as a whole, so that Zimbabweans understand we're here to support Ndebeles, Shona, Mazuzurus, Matswanas, anybody who's in here, even the people from Malawi, Manyasaranda. Because they came here to help us when they built railway stations. They're the main backbone of the railway industry, which we say is that devolution should come back. Give us what is ours to run. And from there you'll see things will change. They want to do something. Get up and stand up for our rights. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Harry Peter Wilson, right there sharing with us his manifesto from DOP. He is the presidential candidate for the 2023 harmonized elections, and he joins other 11 presidential candidates who are also vying for the top seat right there. So Harry Peter Wilson, now in his second bid to become the president of Zimbabwe, says he is in it to make a big statement. Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson, for making time for us as Kiona TV.
I thank Zimbabweans and I praise Zimbabweans that they will vote properly. And if you want to vote, vote for me, Harry Peter Wilson. I will do the best job for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been interesting here in a studio that is Kiona TV, the one, the only, but we have come to that point where we have to bid you farewell. So from myself, Duduzile Matema, Leslie Peary, the crew behind the scenes, we are saying goodbye and have yourselves a blessed Tuesday.
Yeah.